Hello everyone and welcome to Student Hub Live. You're here with Rob Moore and I'm back in the study shack in Leicestershire and it's a nice sunny day today, so great to have you all with us. Today's session is going to be looking at how we keep our brains active during the summer. So quite a few of you will have just finished your exams or your end of module assessments and you're looking forward to starting in October. But we've got these months and what can we do about it? So we've got some suggestions for you today and we've got some expert guests who can give you some hints and tips. So today we are joined by Mark and Matt, who are looking after the chat, and they'll be answering your questions and giving you some advice and some links to follow. So ask them whatever you like. You'll recognize their names because they've got SHL in front of their names. And as always, we've got Heidi with us, and Heidi's going to be bringing your messages and thoughts and telling us what you're thinking. So Heidi, who have we got today?
I just want to point out, if you were with us on Tuesday, you will have seen my dog in the background. She is real. She just doesn't move. She's just constantly on the sofa. So if you think I've got a toy or something, that is Martha. She's alive and well. She's just having a good snooze. Okay, so lots of hellos to get through then this morning. Hello to Jana. Jana's joining us from North Wales and is studying early modern Europe for her history degree, which sounds really interesting. Kelvin will be transitioning to level 3 this October, studying DD310, Counselling and Forensic Psychology, Investigating Crime and Therapy, which sounds fascinating. And Jenny from Manchester is actually studying the same as Kelvin. So they've connected this morning, which is great. We've got Sarah in Manchester studying design thinking. We've got Beverly, who's studying environmental science level 2 and is joining today to find some study tips, which sounds great. A big hello to Alex and Rachel. We've got Denise in Wales. We've got Eileen joining us again in Glasgow. I think you were with us on Tuesday, Eileen. So lovely to have you with us back today. And Rochelle is joining us in France. And we've got Alex, who's still in his holiday cottage in Wales. Just had a full Welsh breakfast and a Biscoff lemon milkshake to start the day. So sounds delicious. Alex is firing on all cylinders. We've got Fatea, good morning to you. We've got Mary in Norfolk. And we've got Tracy in the garden in Whitley Bay. And Sally is in Somerset. So loads of people joining us today. Lovely to have you all with us.
Oh, fantastic. And it'd be nice to be working in the garden today. That's where I'm going to be once we've finished. I'll take my laptop back outside with the deck chair. So there are a number of ways that you can all get in touch with us today. You can join in on the chat pod, or you can email us at studenthub@open.ac.uk, or you can join in with our Twitter feed and our Facebook pages. So lots of ways to get involved. The widget at the moment is a multiple choice question, and we want to know whether you've been involved with any of our Open Learn courses. Yes, no, or didn't know they were there. And then the ticker question, what we want you to put in the chat is, if you've taken part in Open Learn, which ones did you do? How did you find them? And which ones are your favourites? And they'll be popping up later. So to start the session today, I've been joined by Ben and Patrina. They are our Open Learn experts. So welcome both. It's lovely to have you with us and great opportunity to share your knowledge and experience of this great platform. So I'm going to ask you a few questions as we go through. So the first question is going to be to you, Patrina. What is Open Learn and how much does it cost?
Oh, great question, Rob. Thank you. Well, of course, Open Learn is completely free. I mean, just completely free. It's a free learning website and it's been running now for about 13 years. And it has everything on it from short courses to videos, educational interactives, articles, ebooks. So you can study in lots of different formats. And yes, it's the university's, or I like to think it's the university's jewel in the crown. And it's open to everybody. So not just Open University students, but it's open to the whole world. And just to sort of put that into context, because it's free and it's open to everybody, we have over 12 million people looking or studying with Open Learn every year. So it is completely free. And the reason it's free is because, in case you're wondering, well, why does the Open University spend my money on making all this stuff for free? Actually, the university has a royal charter And part of that Royal Charter is that we must make learning available to the community at large. So it's that element of it that means that we really have to give something away for free. But it does pay for itself, because Open Learn is everywhere for everyone. You search up information on your phone, you might find yourself inside an article or a course on Open Learn. A proportion of people who discover Open Learn go on to become Open University students. So that's the thing that, if you like, pays for itself. So we don't have to charge people to use it, because some of them will become our students. So there's that sort of business side of it as well. Although that's not its core raison d'etre. Its core raison d'etre is a social mission. And on Open Learn, you won't find you might find some pretty heavy, full-on material, but actually our job in the team is to bring a little of everything we teach out in the open. And we do that to try, and the team are brilliant at making things feel really topical. We have great academics who work with us to bring their research into the open as well, and make things fun. It's about learning with a bit of fun. You have no start and finish dates. You can study at your own pace, and you can pick and choose what you want to do. So if you're on a full-on chemistry degree, it doesn't matter. You can go off and study other things. And for some of those things, you would get a free certificate or a badge. So yeah, lots of different ways of looking at it. Or if you've just got 5 minutes, just go in and have a look at some videos if you just want to swat up on a subject. And not only do we have these fabulous pieces of our core curriculum made exciting. In fact, a lot of stuff on Open Learn, and it comes onto Open Learn before it makes its way into the curriculum as well, some of the really interesting things. But we've also got a lot of material on there that supports your career choices as well. So lots of general skills about communication, how you survive in an office environment, teamwork, resilience. So lots of general workplace employability skills, which are immensely popular with university students, actually.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. And so what does a typical Open Learn student look like? Have we got such a thing as a typical Open Learn student?
No, we don't actually. We run these big surveys every few years to try and sort of get a sense for, well, who's looking at Open Learn, why are they looking at Open Learn, what do they want? You just can't pigeonhole them, and we had to come up with a series of profiles to just try and make sense of who these people are, because actually a third of everyone looking at Open Learn is a student in some form. Most of those are not Open University students. Only 3% of people using Open Learn are the Open University students. But you imagine 3% of several million, many millions of people a year. That's still a lot of students. So we know we have a third of people who are looking at it as students. We know, roughly speaking, a third of people are looking at it purely for the perspective of their own professional development. Particularly, that was very important during the pandemic. And then also, from the pandemic perspective as well, going forwards, we have now got quite a large chunk of people who are teachers and educators. So about 20% of people using the platform are teachers or educators in some form, either upping their own skills as to how to teach online or finding material to give to their students, because everything on Open Learn is released under a so-called Creative Commons license, so it's free to use. So we've got that 20% core group working in education, that 30% core group who call themselves students of all ages. And then there's everybody else. We've got kids at school, lots of secondary schools now using the platform. We've got octogenarians, people wanting to support their children with their homework or their grandchildren with their homework, people just wanting to sort of swat up on a particular skill or subject matter. So I can't tell you who they are, because they're everybody, and they are everyone around the world. So 60% of that 12, 14 million are not in the UK. 40% of them are in the UK. So it's a real international set of learners.
Well, it sounds like a real public service that we're providing and giving access to. Thank you for that. I mean, that was a great introduction, Petrina. I'm going to get to Ben and ask you a question, Ben. So I'm a tutor, and when I look at my students' records, there's a little flag that tells me if the student has done Being an OU Student, which is an opened badge course. So what is an open badge course, and why do we want to know about it as tutors?
Okay, well, the badged courses, there's around 80 of what we call our badged courses on the site. around about 1,000 courses in total. 80 of them are our digital badges courses. Now those badges are probably more around sort of core skills, professional development. As Patrina said, there's a lot of people who come to Open Learn looking for career development skills, things around communication in the workplace, and yeah, sort of soft skills and that kind of stuff. And that's really where a lot of our digital badges lie. And the difference between those and the other courses, the other 900 or so courses, is that these are all 24 hours of study. And to complete the course on these, there are a couple of quizzes included. So you need to complete the quizzes and then get to the end of the course. And as well as your statement of participation, which all courses deliver, these also come with a digital badge. So the digital badge is displayed on your learner record, and as you say, Rob, tutors can link to that. It's on your linked up to your OU student profile, and so your tutors can see that you've completed any number of courses. Now, the one you highlighted, obviously being an OU student, is to use the jewel in the crown phrase. It's been a huge addition to being on Open Learn. It's been on there for a number of years now. I think around about 70,000 OU students have enrolled on that course, and it really is the sort of the introduction to OU study. It's the what, where, why. It prepares you for what you're going to face, how you're going to study online, where to find everything you need to know, and obviously updating that regularly. And all tutors are encouraged to encourage all their students to take it. It's it really is a great grounding for starting your journey. There's obviously a lot of things which I'm sure we will come on to that will help people induction to the OU, but that course is the one that we would say, if you do one thing, if you're a first-time OU student taking your graduate course, then being an OU student is the one that you should take. And equally, so all the other courses, what you complete on Open Learn, the courses you complete, the badges you earn, display on your student record, which is great. So you can show your tutor that you've studied something if there's a particular area that you want to discuss, or that you want to show that you've read around a subject. Again, it displays it sort of a way of demonstrating your learning. It goes way beyond just OU students, of course. We know that a lot of people share their learner profiles, and you're able to do that now. You can share your learner profile on LinkedIn, for example. So it's not just with tutors, but it's employers and prospective employers as well, that people can take these badged courses and show the rest of the world, look, this is an area I've got a passion in. This is how much I've learned around, and under my own steam, read around a subject. I've earned these badges. So a great way of demonstrating learning. And in return, those people, when it's not a tutor, when it's external, when it is a prospective employer, the badge contains that data. It's not just a copy of a certificate. It's something that links back to the Open University that says, this is an Open Learn course. It was created by OU academics, and it carries that weight. It carries that authority with it. So and let's say around about 80 of the courses are digital badges, and they really are a wide variety. Yes, there's a lot that are really sort of core competencies. There's a lot around sort of the science, English, maths courses, but it really is quite diverse as well. If you want to know what it's like living on the International Space Station, there's a badged course around that. If you want to develop your communication in the workplace, there's a digital badge that will deliver on that as well. So a really diverse bunch of courses, but they all follow that same pattern. They are these broken down into 8 sessions. It's a total of around 24 hours of learning, a couple of quizzes, and then you get your digital badge, which you can share and demonstrate your learning. Be you a student, a new student, particularly on the being an OU student course, looking for employment or working, just to demonstrate your career development. As the badges badges deliver an awful lot. Like I say, the certificates are great, but the badges, they contain that data. They come with all that information in there. It's a great way of demonstrating what you're up to with tutors, employers, family and friends. If you wish, people just like to share their badges. It's the badging community of Open Learn.
Yeah. Great if you're like me and you have to demonstrate your continual professional development, a great way to use it for that. So we're going to come to Heidi in a moment just to look at what you've been saying and what you've been voting on. Yeah, being an OU student, one of my favorite parts about that is it teaches you to speak the language of the Open University. It is a bit like speaking another language, and it takes you a while to get your head around the jargon. And the other thing that's great is it tells you where to find all the really interesting stuff, like how to get your student discount card and how to get a free McFlurry from McDonald's and your discount on Amazon. So there's all really nice things in there as well. So Heidi, if we have a quick look at what's been said, because I know students have been telling us about their experiences so far.
Absolutely. Yeah, sorry, Rob. Yeah, I'm really excited by that. Ben just saying there that there's a course on what it's like living on the International Space Station, because I've been obsessed with the ISS for ages, and I've got the app on my phone where I watch it go over. So I'm definitely going to look that one up. I've been studying with the OU for years and years and didn't know that existed. So that's really exciting. Thanks for that, Ben. So lots and lots of people commenting in the chat about different open learn courses that they've done. So Pamela is studying Open Learn Spanish over the summer. So hopefully you'll get a chance to practice that in person. Pamela, I don't know if you've got any plans to do any travels to Spain. Sally loved the Open Learn Creative Writing course. Andy loves that Open Learn courses are free. Beverly started Beginner's Latin. So that's a bit of a challenging one, I imagine. Jenny in Manchester did the Teaching Maths course on Open Learn, and I'm now doing chemistry. Jenny's an online tutor for home educated students, so loves learning new things that she can then pass on to her students. Deborah is currently studying critical thinking in psychology on Open Learn in preparation for an upcoming module. Rochelle, who's joining us in France, says that she did the course Being an OU Student. And Leah has just finished preparing for Your Digital Life in the 21st Century. And I'm now doing an introduction to computers and computer systems. And Kelvin shared that he's done lots of courses with Open Learn and Open Learn Create and absolutely loves them. I do have a quick question as well, if that's okay, Rob. It's coming from Amit, who's asked, which is the most recommended Open Learn course to take? I know that's a really tricky question, but perhaps one we can put to either Patrina or Ben.
Well, the answer to that is very easy. It's starting your own small business. It's an Open Learn course I wrote a few years ago, so everybody should check that out and get me up the ratings. A bit of self-promotion there. So Ben, I mean, I've asked you this question and I know what your answer is, but what is the most popular and the most recommended Open Learn course?
Well, yeah, as you said, we talked on this earlier, and recommended is a tough one because obviously there's 1,000 to choose from, and everyone has got completely different interests, completely different needs. So I don't think we would ever say this is the course that you need to go and do on Open Learn. In terms of popular, there's some that have been at the top of the list for a long time. We've got real longevity and have always been popular. We have a course on bookkeeping and accounting, which would appear to be the free course on bookkeeping and accounting because every year it has thousands of people who enrol on that. There's a couple that were mentioned actually. Some of our English courses, creative writing, that is again incredibly popular. But the two probably I'll highlight at the moment. We have a course called there's Understanding Autism. That is incredibly popular, and yeah, that again remains one of the most visited, most enrolled on and completed courses that we've got. And some people will have seen this one, the course that we did with Martin Lewis and the Money Saving Expert team. So the MSc Academy of Money, that was done a few years ago, just before lockdown, and obviously probably more important than ever before for people. And ways to manage your finances, look after personal finances. That's full of really useful information, really practical advice, and obviously from someone who's incredibly well respected. And yeah, as an example, we do a few of those courses where we work with external organisations. It is, it's written with partners within the OU. There's OU academics within FBL that have worked with Martin and his team on that, but it comes with the MSc stamp of approval. And again, over the 3 years, I think since that's been on the site, that's been up in the top 5 most popular courses. So Yeah, there isn't anything that we can say I would absolutely recommend. I mean, personally, you mentioned yours. I've not written a course, but there's one recently updated on the business of football. If that's your thing, if you're a football fan, that's a really fascinating course to look into. Particularly now the actual playing of the game is pretty much at an end for the summer, so that's another way just to get your football fix. That's a personal recommendation from me. But yeah, those that we mentioned are incredibly popular courses, and it's really whatever you want. Say we would recommend that you dive in there, look at the free course catalogue. It's extensive, and we've done a few online social media events where we've said, log on, tell us 3 things about yourself, and we will recommend you the perfect course. And that's been really good fun to do, and you get some really obscure things that people have said. So 3 things about me: I like hiking, I enjoy travel, and I've got 2 cats. Some of that not quite as relevant, but we'll pick up on what's on there, and we've recommended courses, and that's been a really fun thing to do. But I'd say, yeah, dive in, look at that course catalogue. Whether it's related to your module, you can use your module code as well. If there's a module you're interested in or studying, you can use your module code to find the associated courses on OpenLearn as well. But yeah, just have a look around. You'll be amazed what you find on there. We always say there is something for everyone, and that's absolutely true. So yeah, just dive in, and if you are completely stuck, then follow us on the social media channels, and by all means drop us a message and say, I like these 3 things, what should I study? And I'm sure one of our team will find something for you.
And I think that's really important, that we can dive in. We don't have to go in necessarily with a purpose in mind. We can go in and we can explore what's there. And you don't have to complete the whole 24 hours. You can go and have a taste, and you can jump around. We did have a question from Amit about, will you still be able to use OpenLearn after graduating? Well, the good news is you don't even have to be studying to use it. It's there for absolutely everyone. What happens is that if you are an OU student already, you've already got an OU account, so you can use that to go in. If you're not an OU student, then you can create a free OU account, and that will give you access and keep track of what you do. So the good news is you've got permanent access, and it will never go away. So a couple of things from those of you who've answered our questions. How many of you were aware of OpenLearn? So 78% of you were already aware. Or have used it. 81 now, it's jumped up since I last looked at the figures. 11% haven't, and 8% didn't know about it. So 8% of you will now be going and searching for OpenLearn. And then we asked you the types of things you've been looking at. So we've built up a word cloud that represents some of the topics that you've been exploring. And as we can see, psychology is coming out really highly on that list. And mathematics, I've got to say, if you're a parent who struggles to help your children do their maths homework, some of the maths OpenLearn courses we've got are brilliant to help you get your head around, so that you can help the rest of the family. Okay, so just going to move on. So Heidi, have we got any other questions we haven't covered yet?
We do, yeah. We have another question. So are there a maximum number of courses that you can take on OpenLearn?
Oh, I suppose it's how many computers have you got? Petrina, I'll pass that one to you. Is there a limit? Are we monitoring how many people do?
No, we do have people who are addicted to earning badges and certificates, though. They appear from time to time, but no, there's no limit at all. And actually, if you look at your OpenLearn profile, it'll log all of the courses that are in progress, how many courses you've completed, whether they've got certificates or badges associated with them. So you've got a permanent record there of all the ones you've taken. And for everything that you've completed on OpenLearn, you can mark it as private or public, so you don't have to share with everybody on your profile what you've studied. You can keep as much of that hidden as you want. And also, if you are an Open University student, there's a section in the OpenLearn profile, the My OpenLearn profile, called which is your OU record as well. So you've also got your Open University study record in there too, which by default is hidden, it's private. But if you want to share that you have, or make public that you've studied certain modules or entire qualifications, you can. So there's a URL that will be associated with you and your profile. So when you're applying for jobs or moving around at work or want to show your boss something, you've got everything you've studied there, both formally and informally on OpenLearn to share. And as I say, you can switch things on or off. But yeah, there's sky's the limit. You can study as much stuff as you want to.
Brilliant. I've got to say, it is a bit of a rabbit hole if you go in, and I was addicted to those short animations, lots of short animations that are on OpenLearn, and you've even got your own YouTube channel with a lot of these. So I love the 60-second adventures series that is narrated by David Mitchell, taking some really complicated ideas and breaking it down in 60 seconds. And so anybody that's watching, if you haven't seen those before, just type in 60 seconds adventures and then OpenLearn into Google. You will find some amazing animations. So back to Ben for a second. So Ben, it's not just about study. There's lots of games and things in there as well. I've played a few games in my time. I've done the photo fit activity and some of the others.
Yep.
Is there a really popular game at the moment that's coming through? Because I know there's you've got a web link, haven't you? You've got a list of your top favourite games as a team.
Yeah, we have. We've got some really popular ones. And the one that you mentioned there, Photo Fit Me. That's always been a really popular one. And I think a lot of people have fun making a photo fit of friends and family just to see what they'd look like should they ever need to appear on Crime Watch, that kind of thing. But that's a good fun one. And photographic memory as well is another one that is always really popular. Whenever we post about that on social media, we tend to get a lot of replies, people telling us how well they've done and whether their memory is good or absolutely terrible. And Driven to Distraction. There's a couple we've got which are around the subject of driving and concentration, and whether the use of even a hands-free phone, how much does it actually impact your concentration on the road? So that's a really good one where you're put into a sort of a simulation, driving down a road, and various things happen around you. There's things to spot, and then a quiz at the end. And it's while you're driving and trying to memorize a shopping list that you're being given over the phone call. And then did you spot everything that happened? And watching that back when you're not trying to remember the shopping list and realizing that, without giving too many away, should people want to go and do it, but you realize that, Superman crossed the road in front of you, and various things that are blatantly obvious when you've got full concentration. So there's some really, really interesting stuff that's on there. Interactive games, we tend to call them. They are games. They are fun. If you want to go on and just you've got 10 minutes and you want something different to go and play and entertain yourself with, they're there. But obviously, like Patrina said, everything is created for with some sort of academic edge to it. So even though you're going on and having fun, there will be a purpose to it. There'll be a point there, a message there. It may link to an article. It may link from some of the courses that we've done. And you mentioned parents looking for something different to keep people entertained. We've got a collection. There is the link, like I said, to our 15 favourite interactives, which is a really good one. I think you might be able to share that later on with people. That's us putting all the ones that we enjoy the most in one place. But rest assured, if you want to point your children towards that and think that's going to keep them occupied for a few hours, 15 different games to play, there's definitely some learning in there as well. There's one that's called Behind the Reputation, which is looking at historical figures. It is a game, but obviously there's a little bit of learning in there about who was Queen Elizabeth, who is William Shakespeare. There's some really, really fun stuff. Like with the animations that you love, we've got a really good creative team that make these things visually brilliant, really good fun to play, really simple to play as well. But with that educational angle to everything that we do. So go on there, enjoy it, and find yourself accidentally learning while you're there, which is a fantastic thing to do.
Accidental learning, you can't beat it. No, that's fantastic. So we've come to the end of that first topic now, and I'd just like to say thank you to Patrina, because I know Patrina has to leave us now. Ben's staying around to answer your questions after the break and helping us through the next chat as well. So thank you, Patrina. Enjoy the rest of your day, and really appreciated you spending time with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Thank you. And we'd like to welcome Alessandro. So Alessandro's come to join us today to talk about his work with the BBC and our collaboration with the BBC. Welcome, Alessandro. Hope you well today.
Hello. Hello, good morning. Hope you can hear me all right, yes?
Yes, nice and
Yes.
clear, nice and clear.
Thank you, Rob.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, before we get into the chat, we've changed the widget, and we're asking you to identify which of the programs listed are collaborations between the Open University and the BBC. And if you are aware of any, which are your favourite programs and why? So we're going to be looking at those later. So, Alessandro,
Okay.
the Open University has been working with the BBC for many years. I remember as a young ankle snapper many years ago, seeing the BBC Open University programmes at 5 o'clock in the morning. We've come a bit of a way since then, and we've developed our content a little. So what's changed now? What's different now?
Well, what is different now is that it is a well-established collaboration which is growing constantly. We co-produce programs that are broadcast across all the different channels of TV, but also on radio. And this is really growing in association with each new program. We also produce some what we call online content, which is presented on the OU Connect website, whereby viewers can go and find some materials about the program, but also they can find links to the curriculum and the modules offered to students, which are related to the program and the topic areas covered by that particular program. On OU Connect, there is also access to other programs that we produce, not for broadcasting, but for what we call BBC Ideas. So these are short videos about specific topics. So about leadership, we recently produced one about the do's and don'ts of representing yourself in court, for example. And these are short videos and animation, 5-6 minutes long, whereby viewers or learners can find ideas which hopefully will encourage them to want to discover more, including going to the pages of our former curriculum and the modules where they can actually translate their interest into actual study. We produce for every academic year, we produce some statistics about what happened over the previous 12 months. We do that in October, so the statistics we have still relate to the 21-22 academic year. But if we look back at that year, we had 327 million viewing and listening events.
Wow.
We had 232,000 print requests. So viewers who actually wanted to print some of the materials that they found there. And we had in excess of 600,000 visits to broadcast pages on the OU Connect site. So in terms of traffic that is generated on the back of those co-productions with the BBC, this is really, really growing dramatically. Obviously, over COVID, a bit like for Open Learn, these came to a different, this traffic was a different magnitude, but we seem to be able to maintain that level of attention and attraction. So watch this space. This coming Monday, for example, 26th of June at 7 o'clock on BBC Two, you can watch if you want, the 5th episode of a program called Parole, which is a program, it was the first series of 6 episodes about the parole board. So what happens behind the scene? And it's been extremely successful, so much so that the BBC has now commissioned a 2nd series, which will go into production after the summer. So a lot of things are happening. You can find these programs advertised normally on the BBC channels and TV Guide. But if you go to the OU Connect website, you can find tracks about what was produced in the past and what the links to actual curriculum and modules on offering are.
Okay, lovely. I know we've got a few questions coming in. Heidi, what's popping up in the moment? What are we? What is the audience asking about at the minute?
Yeah, audience guests are sharing a bit about some of the different shows that they've enjoyed the most, which is great. So we can touch on those in a bit. But yeah, we've got a question from Pamela. So Pamela doesn't have a TV license and doesn't want one. Does it mean that she misses out on watching these collaborations?
Oh, Alessandro, I could have a guess at that one, but so what do we offer to guests who haven't got a TV license?
Well, if you don't have a TV license, you cannot obviously watch the program on TV. We cannot broadcast the program on computers online, but you can still go to the OU Connect website and find short videos or abstracts of the program with all the information about it. Unfortunately, that is not something we can walk around.
And I'm guessing that's the same for any of our guests who are not based in the UK and can't access the BBC programs.
Well, that is unfortunately it is true. These are programs that are broadcast by the BBC, so you need to have access to the BBC on TV in order to watch them.
Excellent. So, Heidi, do you want to talk us through the programs people have been watching and which ones are their favourites at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. So Beverly has said that her favourite was the most recent OU BBC collaboration with Sir David Attenborough, which was Wild Isles. So I'm not sure if anybody else was able to catch that, but absolutely phenomenal. I know that it was years of filming of that one, and they just got the most incredible footage. And then Sally watched Inside Our Autistic Minds earlier this year. So Sally has autism and said that this one was a really great one for her to watch. And I just had a quick Google, and that one is on iPlayer. So yeah, they're the 2 favourites that have come out so far.
Excellent. And we're going to have a look at the widget at the moment and see how many of the programs you've recognised. In terms of the support material, it's really interesting to see how the programs were created, where the data came from. And quite often, you're pointed in the direction of further study, perhaps an Open Learn course or an Open University course where you might want to explore it. So I think, yes, we can have a quick look at your results now. And Dirty Rotten Scammers. And I think all of those are actually collaborations with the OU. So you're allowed to vote for as many as you like. They are actually all collaborations. So any of those, when you see them advertised, you will find them and information about them on OU Connect, and you can go further into it. So, Alessandro, which is your personal favourite? So of all the collaborations you've been involved with, which is your favourite and why?
Well, first of all, I work for the Faculty of Business and Law, so I work on the co-productions of the BBC with the Faculty of Business and Law. Other media fellows representing other faculties help on co-productions about other subject areas. So my choice will have to be about business and law programs. We recently, in February, March, we launched a short series of 3 episodes about women which changed, which made a change in Scotland. So a program about the role that some iconic figures had in Scottish life. It was a program that was very successful. It was broadcast by BBC Scotland, not across the UK, but it received very good critics. I think it was extremely fun to produce, and BBC Scotland invited the academics to Edinburgh for the initial preview. The last episode of the series was launched on the 8th of March, which was International Women Day. So that is one of the favorites which I have. But there is a whole suite of programs as well produced with our business academics, which tries to cover across different programs, tries to cover the changes within British society and the economy since the year 2000. First, through the glitzy years of around the turn of the millennium, and then across through financial crisis at the end of the 2008, 2009, and then later on. And again, we produced a couple of very well-received programs. One was about the demise of Topshop and the demise of Peter Green as an entrepreneur. And another one was about the changes that have taken place and where we're left actually after those 15, 20 years today. We are still building on that. There is a new program which is in production, which unfortunately is looking at what is going on at the moment, which is not particularly positive from an economic standpoint, but that it helps understand key changes and the drivers of change. So it helps make sense of what is going on. So I strongly encourage you all to watch these programs and then try to see how the background of our academics, the particular take on these topics that our academics are taking, how that can be different from mainstream contribution that you can find elsewhere.
Brilliant. And as a business school tutor, I'm often recommending students to go and look at these programs and see how they can apply what they're learning to the discussions that are being had. I'm going to come to Ben and Heidi in a minute and ask what their favorite collaborations are. So I'll give you a few seconds to get yourselves ready, and I'll just say what mine are. I'm going back a few years. I used to love Rough Science. And that's a science program about basically cobbling together scientific solutions. And it had some OU science tutors actually presenting with Kate Humble. That's probably my favourite one going back a few years. And then we had things like Bang Goes the Theory. So I like the sciencey ones. Heidi, have you got a favourite one that rings a bell with you, that when you watch it, you think, yeah, I'm part of the group that helped develop that?
I would say, so I'm obsessed with space and I'm obsessed with the sea. So the two things I'm just absolutely obsessed with. So I would probably say Blue Planet. I just think that the footage that was gathered for that was just absolutely phenomenal. Um, they're just astounding, and there is such a sense of pride, I find, as well at the end when you watch these incredible productions, and then you see the names of the academic consultants, and and there's been quite a few times I think, oh my gosh, I know that person. I've been in a meeting with that person. That's amazing. So yeah, it's really exciting, and then seeing the OU bits at the end. So yeah, amazing collaboration between the OU and BBC. But Blue Planet, I think, is probably my personal favourite.
Oh, I know what you mean. Ros Crone, who works a lot with Lucy Wordsley on some of her productions, was a guest on Student Hub Live quite recently. So it's quite nice when you're watching the program, and exactly as you say, oh, I've worked with that person. That's lovely. So what about you, Ben? What would you say is your favourite? Which one stands out to you?
I'm all about true crime. So is it Crime Scene Investigates? I think that series was called. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. I love seeing how yeah how the police can go in and pick up things, and how they can find out so much information from a tiny scrap of DNA and place people at the scene of a crime. So yeah, when those series are on, they're the ones I immediately look out for and jump into. And yeah, I was sort of disappointed because obviously a lot of the broadcast content used to be on Open then before it got its own platform, as Alessandro said. So yeah, we used to do a lot more and develop. We were a bit more involved in developing the content, and I got to see it all come onto Open then just before the series went out, and got to play all those little fun games and watch all the videos and stuff. So I have to wait like everybody else these days and log on to Connect for that. So yeah, I wait eagerly to see what the next ones are going to be as well. But yeah, crime scene for me.
Yeah, fantastic. And I know that the team have been putting links into the chat to take you to all of these resources sites. Um, Roz actually worked with Lucy on a podcast called The Lady Killers. I don't know if you captured that one. I listened to the entire series driving in the car recently, where they investigate female murderesses or female murderers, and they have to be female if they're murderesses, but they're looking at historical murders and the way that women were treated in Victorian times. So some really interesting stuff there. But yeah, if you like your true crime, the podcast The Lady Killers is well worth looking at. So Heidi, any other comments from the guests at the moment? Anything that's being asked or said?
Yeah, a couple of comments, and then I've got a question as well. So Alex was just picking up on the discussion in the chat around inside our autistic minds. And Alex says, as an autistic individual, it was interesting to view it through a different point of view. And Kelvin, who has said that he has tons of different courses on the go. Kelvin, I don't think you sleep or rest, but Kelvin's put a list of the favourites. So he said, my favourites of late have been Forensics, The Real CSI, Wild Isles, David Harewood, Psychosis and Me. I didn't watch that one, but I must watch that because it looks really interesting. And then Greta Thunberg, A Year to Change the World. So that was to name a few, Calvin said. And then we've got a couple of questions. So I'll just start off with the first one. So Rochelle said, and I think I might know the answer to this one. Did the OU work with the BBC on a mathematics program with Hannah Fry? I think she might be referring to magic numbers, but I think Alessandro is probably better placed to respond to that one.
I think the answer is yes, but I cannot say that 100% because, as I said, I represent business and law, and I'm not fully aware of all of the programs that are developed by the other faculties. But the name, if it is magic numbers, the answer would be yes.
I remember the program, and I must admit I can't quite remember myself whether we did or not. So some great resources out there, some great opportunities to take your TV viewing a little further. See, television can be good for you. Television can be educational, and it's that opportunity to obtain those extra insights that you gain. So you watch the program, you enjoy it, you can find a little more. And again, I love the fact that we can support our children's learning. We can go and get the printable resources, so that you can request printed material to be sent. You can buy printed material, but there are lots of free downloads that you can print yourself. So lots and lots of things that can be accessed and used through the collaboration. So Ben, do we get a lot of links from OU Connect back into Open Learn? So does that natural link exist?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've always had a really good relationship with the broadcast team. Like I say, and that content used to belong on Open Learn. So yes, yeah, still anything I think that is on Connect obviously links back to the OU to relevant modules. As you said, everything all kind of links up. Those modules link back into Open Learn. So yeah, there's definitely still a link between the two. And like I say, you know, if you're enjoying any one of those series, historically there will be content still available on Open and linked to things like Blue Planets. We've got plenty of stuff about the environment, about aquatic mammals, and articles that sort of date from the times of those series that are still historically on the site. So yeah, if you're enjoying the co-produced series, even if there's not a direct link back, there will be some. But yeah, we'd love Open Learn to be the next thing you think of after enjoying that program and visiting the Connect site. And then if you want to know a bit more, we're your next resource. But yeah, there's definitely links between the two.
So we're looking at those tips and hints for keeping your brain active during summer. Also, you tell us if you've just finished your exams or your EMAs. What do you do when that big relief comes in and you finally hit the send button 2 minutes before the cutoff point and it's all gone, and now you're thinking, oh, what do I do now till October? What do I do till my next module starts? And that's what we're going to try and cover in this next half hour. What sorts of things can you do? So Heidi, have we got any suggestions yet? Is anybody coming up with things that they like to do during this this break, this holiday period?
Yes, absolutely. I just want to apologise. My cat's just woken up behind me and I think might be throwing up. So I do apologise if anybody can hear that or if you can see that. That's really the worst timing possible. So yes, back to professional mode. Deborah, I will be reading a specific book during the summer break. So that's Critical Thinking for Students by Roy van der Brink Budgen. I probably pronounced that wrong. And then Eileen hopped in the chat and said that she's also ordered that book recently. So she's also going to be reading that one over the summer. I haven't heard of that one, but it sounds very interesting. And Kelvin, busy Kelvin, a long list of things that Kelvin's going to be doing. So revising theories, methodology, research studies and concepts, reading many books, looking into research I missed out on reading, potentially studying more on Open Learn or Future Learn courses. That's what we like to hear. And preparing for his DE 200 exam resit and writing book reviews. So Kelvin has got an extremely busy summer ahead. My colleague Mark, just to make you aware, if you're not looking at the chat at the moment, Mark's put some great OU volunteering opportunities in the chat. So I recommend you go and have a little look at that. The link's in there. And then we've got a question for Alessandro and Ben. So Deborah says, is Open Learn open for school students or do they have to be 18 years or older?
Good question.
Ben,
I
shall pick up on that one. Yeah, yes, school students, absolutely. To create an account on Open Learn, you have to be 13 years or older. But that is to create your own user account. We know there are younger learners than that who parents have created accounts for, and obviously then can monitor their access. It's connected to their email addresses. But no, as long as you're over the age of 13, yeah, you can create an account, and it's something we really are encouraging a lot more in secondary schools. We've recently worked on a schools hub, in fact. So we had previously, it was kind of a home learning hub that was created during lockdown. Actually, all 4 of the OU faculties contributed to it and put forward the content they thought was best suited for home learning at secondary school age students. And recently we've taken all of that and we've reviewed it and actually turned it into what we're now calling a schools hub. And all the categories have been redefined. So whereas previously it was all around OU module subjects, now it's all done by curriculum subjects. So secondary school students can go in there and without wondering, well, what does that actually mean? That's not a subject I recognise. They can see everything very clearly. So English, maths, science, the humanities, religious studies, whatever it may be, it's all curriculum subjects that are on there. There is 400 or so items in there. Say things that we've talked about again, from courses to articles and videos and short documentaries, things like that are all mixed up in there. And we've also developing something around the EPQ as well for secondary school students. And if people are aware or have students who are doing EPQs, there's going to be an EPQ platform as well, which is linked off there, which is again specific content, and there's some tools that have been developed to sort of talk students through that. So yeah, it's a really key part of what we're looking to develop with Open Learn at the moment, is to tap into that market. We know there are younger learners that are interested, but not enough. We want it to be something that's that secondary school teachers are aware of, that can be used within lessons to support the students. There's so many things that they can do, be it say about for further reading, or whether it's actually even brought into the classroom. So yeah, absolutely. I say all the content we think is definitely secondary school suitable, and you'll find on our courses as well a simple guide. There is 3 levels, just one, 2, and 3. Level 1 being introductory, and 3 being advanced. We think they're all probably pretty accessible, but 3 may be slightly harder to understand, some language or some prior knowledge needed on the courses. But certainly the introductory level courses, we don't think anyone should have any problems with. It's accessible, it should be easy to understand and easy to use. So yeah, long answer there, and the very short answer to that is yes, secondary school students, absolutely, very welcome. And go onto Open Learn and search Schools Hub. I'd say that would be your very first port of call.
Fantastic. And I noticed that a couple of people were thinking about critical thinking, critical learning. There are some specific resources on Open Learn that look at critical thinking as well. So some tips, some ideas, and well worth looking at those. Heidi, you mentioned that somebody was doing the catch up on the study that they didn't manage to do during their module. We would love to think as OU tutors that every student reads every element and does every activity as they do the studies, but we know that life happens and you can't always do every element. So yeah, I love the idea that this is that point where you can catch up on perhaps those bits that weren't critical for the TMA, so you might have put them to one side. This is the point to go back and have a go at them. And so I've tried to remember, Heidi, have you done an OU course with us?
Oh, well, I did all of my undergrad with the OU. I did all my BA Hons in literature with the Open University, which took me 5 years. And then I've done quite a few Open Learn courses, and I've kind of dipped in and out. And it was actually an informal course that I did that then sparked my interest, because I wasn't sure what to do for my master's. And then I did a criminology related free course. And after doing that, it made me realize I definitely want to go on and do postgraduate study. So then I finished that, graduated from that a couple of months ago. So then, yeah, that was the impetus to do 2 years of postgraduate study. So for me, it was sort of a major deciding factor in then going on to do postgrad, because it's a huge commitment, isn't it? When you start, whether you're doing undergrad or postgrad, and you think, I'm going to commit all these years of my life and all this investment financially, and you want to make sure that it's the right course for you. And Open Learn, Future Learn, is just fantastic for that, and giving you that initial kind of taste of what the course is going to be like.
And getting that sense of what's coming up and being prepared for it is fantastic. I noticed we got a comment in the chat about somebody's taking a digital detox and hard books only, which is a great idea. If you're an OU student, if you're actually registered on a module with us, you can actually book out physical books from the OU library as well. So if you're on your detox, that's a great way of doing it. I think Ben's got something to say about that. Yes, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got again another collection that we put together recently, which is all based around outdoor learning. So you can take a digital detox, and oddly, for an online learning platform, we're also encouraging people that they can do the same. There is a collection. If you look for, I think if you search for again outdoor learning, something along those lines, but you'll find that on Open Learn, and it's things where yes, you need to do a little bit of reading online before, but it encourages you to get outside and do some of those things. There's activities, and we've got one of our courses which is called Citizen Science, which is about getting out there and recording what you see in your neighbourhood, in the sort of wildlife and it's sort of animals and plants. And we've got courses around astronomy, how to view the night sky. So if you are looking for digital detox and you're looking for some ideas, we can help on that as well. We say it does seem strange for an online learning platform to say, why don't you switch everything off for a week? But if you do a little bit of prep beforehand with us, there's plenty you can still do and still work towards earning a badge or a certificate while you do it as well. So digital detox is definitely we're on board with that as well. We're great idea.
Excellent. And Alessandro, we've I'm checking my memory's correct on this, but we work with the BBC on Spring Watch and Autumn Watch, etc. And there are quite a lot of surveys involved there. So how would guests get involved with some of those activities? So some of the surveys and the data collection with Spring Watch.
Well, as you say, there is a lot of that, and there is a lot of interest in getting the voice of the viewers and the learners. So the OU Connect website provides a link to the BBC. The BBC website in turn has links to the to OU Connect. So the time during the summer, detox or not detox, is an opportunity to explore the different ways of getting involved and interact with either side of the partnership, and it is strongly encouraged. Also, as I said, if I can follow on that, when we launch new programs, when the BBC starts broadcasting a new program, there are usually a series of episodes. So if you go to the website, you can see what is coming up over the next weeks, month, and you can make sure that you're not going to miss out on the next episode of the series. So strongly encouraged to do it. It is a way to see what is being produced. It is a way to put things in the diary and plan for the future.
Excellent. And I'm sitting here thinking summer's coming. We finished our studies. We're going off on our holidays. So can I ask the guests in the chat box? So those of you writing in the chat box, tell us what you take away on holiday with you to help you relax. So this isn't, I don't want TMAs. I don't want things like that you're having to write. But what do you take away with you to keep your brain active on your holiday? And then my guests in the studio, I'll come to you first, Heidi. What do you take on holiday with you to keep your brain active? Because I really struggle to completely switch off. I like to be doing something. So what is it that Heidi does to keep her active when you're chilling?
I love podcasts, so I do listen to a lot of podcasts. You'll very often find me in the garden with a podcast on a walking the dogs. It was actually Leah, just to credit Leah, that is doing the 3-week digital detox and says only hard copy books allowed. So I can definitely relate to that. And when I go on a holiday, I do like to take a hard copy book. I was always anti Kindle and anti kind of digital books. I was kind of old school in my approach. I thought, no, because you can't beat a real book. So I resisted it for a long time. And then I did get caught out when I was in America the last time. And I didn't have a book on me, so I downloaded the Kindle app, and then I really fell in love with it. And it works really surprisingly well on the phone. So yeah, I have kind of crossed over into the digital ebook market, but really like it. So yeah, and there's lots of others in the chat that are talking about books and reading and doing that when they're in the summer. So yeah, I'm with them on that one.
Oh, absolutely. And the Kindle's great if you're looking for some of the classic books, some of the Dickens, or I'm a sucker for Sherlock Holmes, but all of those tend to be free to download as well. So it's a really economic way to take material with you. So Ben, what about you? What is it that you do to help you chill and relax when you're on your break? What do you take with you?
Well, same as Heidi. I've got two dogs that come with us, so yeah, they're a great way to relax, get out in those big long walks, and yeah, a trip to Norfolk this summer coming up again. We've just sort of discovered that in the past couple of years. So down to Norfolk and the coast, and that's beautiful down there. So yeah, walking and the dogs, and saying I do like a podcast as well. Podcasts everywhere with me these days. So yeah, some just random things that you can find that are great. Just sort of interviewing. I love just hearing people talking. So yeah, comedians, celebrities, actors, sports people, anything that's sort of a podcast chat show, if you like, where you can just learn a bit about people and see where the conversation goes. Much like this, is great. And the other one's a little bit embarrassing, I suppose, but for a grown man maybe. But I still love playing Football Manager. That's my
Yeah.
other world that I go to. So when I'm on holiday and I've got nothing to do, don't need to worry about watching TV of an evening, or there's no TV maybe even where some of these places you go and stay, and then yeah, if I fire up a game of Football Manager and immerse myself in a completely other world where I'm a very very well paid and very successful football manager, or so that's my switch off from the real world.
Mhm. So before I ask Alessandra the same question, can I ask everyone in the audience just to think about what would you take on a long flight to keep you occupied? So you're there, you're strapped in, you can't move for 4 or 5 hours. What will you take with you to keep yourself active, keep your brain going? So pop us your thoughts in the chat box. And Alessandra, what do you do to keep your brain active when you're on that downtime? What is it that keeps you going?
I like reading. I read a lot, and I love although we're talking about a digital offering here, but I like the physicality of books. I like that, and I make good use of the OU's library. The last time I was in Milton Keynes, I took 5, 6 books on loan, and I'm planning to go through those during the summer. I tend to be a bit erratic in my reading, so I read more than one book at a time. I keep them on my bedside table. I start one book, read through a few pages, then I start another one. But I like that. I like, and the fact that I do that in my time off, in my leave time, gives me the freedom to do it like that, a bit on the spur of the moment. But it does keep me going. It keeps my, as I say, my brain working without any stress, without any need to necessarily achieve something. But it's a journey of discovery, and I do like that. And then I also try to think about next. I like reading, but I also make the most of what being an academic with you offers in terms of opportunity of learning new things. So I take that time as a time when I can think about what to study next. So I explore different areas, different subject areas, and yeah, I enjoy that. I enjoy that a lot.
And I think Heidi's got a question for you, Alessandro.
Yeah, so we touched on earlier a little bit about how people very often use, and I was saying in my example, I use this as well, that open learn is a great way of kind of finding out what you want to do as whether it's undergraduate or postgraduate. And Deborah said that she's doing the same at the moment. So for her postgraduate study, she's thinking of doing a master's in law, and is about to embark on some open learn courses first to make sure that it's something that she'd be interested in and aware of what's involved. Now, that's a big thing, master's in law. I have looked into that one. It looks absolutely amazing, but quite daunting. So I thought Alessandra would be the best person to come in on this and give some advice on perhaps what open learn courses you'd recommend for Deborah.
Ooh, as a matter of fact, the qualification, the degree in law, was redesigned a couple of years ago, and new modules are coming on stream over the next 12 months. So some exciting, especially level 3, so the final year of the undergraduate qualification, that they are coming on stream. And I would say watch that space, look for what is going to be published to students, and look for the open learn courses that will be produced to showcase what the actual modules are. Whenever we produce and launch a new module as part of the formal curriculum, we produce also an open learn course that provides an introduction to the course, showcases some units of the actual module, and by looking at that, you can develop a feel for what the new module is. So I would certainly look at those, especially if you're planning to go for the master's degree. Look at the new level 3 courses, which are going to come mainstream in 23-24, and see whether that can give you some ideas about what you might achieve. If you go to the OU Connect website, I mentioned earlier on a program that we co-produced not so long ago, which is about the parole board. Have a look at the approach which is taken, the particular perspective which is being taken in the program, because it gives an idea of what approach to studying law and what type of areas you may come across when you do actual the degree. So try to collect as much information, as much ideas, and then have a look at all the new production, all the new curriculum which is going to be launched. Does that help?
That's really good advice, and it's nice to know that each new module will have something on Open Learn. Maybe not immediately, but there will be something on Open Learn so that you can have a taster, that you can see whether you like the subject and the sort of depth that it goes into. I think that's really good advice. Ben, if I'm right, and I'm testing my memory here, I'm sure there's a module on beginning postgraduate study on Open Learn. I can't remember the title of it off the top of my head. I don't know if you, as the encyclopedia, can remember it.
Even the encyclopedia here is just clicking through to the page to check he gets the title right. So we've got an OU student induction section on the site, and under our main headings there is a for study link, and within there there's one specifically for OU student induction. The being an OU student course we mentioned earlier is part of that, and yes, there's a couple of courses on there. So there is succeeding in postgraduate study, which is one of our badged courses, as we mentioned earlier. So 24 hours of learning in there, and another one on taking your first steps into higher education as well. So people who are completely new to study, that's included in there as well. So there's definitely courses to help you on your way in, whether it's your very first time studying or say postgraduate or undergraduate. There's resources there to help you.
Fantastic. And I know I recommend courses a lot. And what I wanted to talk about for the last few minutes really is, here we are, we're just into summer, but the barbecues have all been lit, the deck chairs are out. But I don't want to wish life away, but autumn will be appearing before too long. And what sort of things can students be doing to help prepare them for the new modules start in October? Because a lot of our modules start in October, November. So what could they be doing, not immediately, but later in the summer? I mean, one of the things, of course, is that they can come along to Student Hub Live. We have a session on the 19th of July where we are looking at how to help students make that transition from level 1 to level 2 or from level 2 to level 3. And we're going to be talking to some tutors about what are the different expectations, because they are we cover different things at different levels. So we just wanted to have a chat with some tutors about, if a student's just completed their level 2 study, what's going to be different? What's going to be, how do they have to adapt for the next year? So that's what I would recommend. Not just because me and Heidi will be there, but obviously that's a bonus. Ben, anything else that in terms of helping prepare with study skills? So I know there's a study skills section. Do you know which is the most popular one on study skills?
Ooh, that's off the top of my head. As a study skills course or content, no, not 100% certain. I mean, they say being an AU student towers above everything else. That's for sure. I mean, what I'd probably say actually is we found useful, and a message that we've put out before is to say to people, during the downtime, maybe don't necessarily come looking for something, but if you take a bit of time and think about what it was you wanted to refresh, was there any areas that you felt you struggled with, or any particular sort of study skills that you found particularly hard in you before? Make some notes. Take that offline time. Put some notes down and then come and see what we've got to offer. And I think the things that people have typically turned to, things like time management. We've got resources. There's articles on there that discuss how to plan a bit better, how to manage your time. There's exam prep. We've got courses on things like note taking as well. Sort of simple skills. It's not necessarily the big things, but those things that you think, actually, I'd like to be a bit better at that next year. Confidence in forums as well. We've got a course, again, sounds really quite niche, but building confidence in using online forums. That's a great one for OU students. And again, just helping people get a bit more confident with the technology, or a bit more confident about how and where to share their content, comments and thoughts, things like that. So that's what I'd say. We've got that section has got an awful lot in there. Take some time, think about what it is that you not necessarily struggled with, but is there something you would like to be better at? And then come and have a look in that study skills section. You'll be surprised at how far reaching it is, even if it may only be a couple of those little animations. The study skills tips around time management. It's boiled down into a 60-second, really easy to absorb little nugget of information. So it might be as simple as that. You might say, time management is what I want to do, and what better way to better manage your time than to spend 60 seconds learning how to better manage your time. So that's what I would say to do. Take some time off, think about it, and then come and find what you want.
I often refer students to the essay writing, the report writing, how to create an argument. So the postgraduate study, I think, is an excellent resource, and I recommend it to all my level 3 students as well. And of course, we have the help centre and the library with special sessions on doing research and referencing. So perhaps not the first thing you think about as you come into the summer, but definitely to help you get back on track. So Heidi, any last questions or points from the chat?
I just wanted to pick up on a point that Alex made. So you asked earlier about what people take with them on a long flight to keep them entertained. And I really liked Alex's response. So it depends on the flight. If it's young kids screaming, then maybe a sedative. If it's the ideal flight, then a notepad, pens, and a selection of photos on the phone or in hard copy form, and maybe try and write something creative. I thought that was some great advice there for people if they are going on long flights this summer. So Alessandro Alessandro was talking earlier then about the new master's program that's being developed around law. And one of the questions, how long do the open learn courses take to produce in comparison to very large suites of programs like the master's?
Ooh, that's a good question. I've got a bit of an answer, but Ben, did you want to try it first? Length of time?
Yeah, sure. Alessandra may know a bit more than me, being sort of more directly involved in them. I believe the process is, yeah, when a module is sort of introduced, it's like I say, it is, as you mentioned, it's built in that an open learn course has to be developed from it. We have a really nice graphic that says a tasty slice of everything we make is available for free, and I say that, so you will always find the module on there. So I think typically, around about sort of 6 months or so is probably fairly standard for a course to come from that initial meeting with the academics, with the media fellows, and for the academics to go away to pull which bits of the module out. It might be, I think, a certain area, or a little bit of everything across the module, whichever way they want to attack it, and to get that written up and bring it to our team of editors, who then convert it into the courses that you see online, work with our creative team to make it look nice and insert all the extra images and the quizzes and the videos and the content that makes it really sort of pop out and come to life. And typically, I would say probably around about 6 months. Some are rattled through really quickly. Some I know have been in production a lot longer than that. But probably on average 6 months from idea to arrival on Open Learn, I would say. If that matches your experience, Alessandro.
Well, I have to say I couldn't hear all that was said, and I couldn't really understand all of Heidi's question. But
I think we've lost Alessandro.
of a proper.
That explains it.
Hello.
So
can you hear me? Can you?
Yeah. Don't worry, Alessandro. We'll
break you a lot, so I haven't been able.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I think we've lost Alessandro at the moment.
It froze.
Okay, so we've come to the end of the session anyway, so unfortunately we're not going to get the answer there. So I'd just like to say thank you to everyone today. So thank you to Ben, Alessandro and Petrina. And as always, Heidi, it's been wonderful working with you today. Just a couple of points to bring up. We've got some sessions coming up over the next month or so. On the 27th of June, we have our FAS event, our speed dating event, where you'll get to find out about all the new arts and social sciences modules that are being available. Followed in the evening by our end of the year party hosted by Isabella, and I'll be there in the background cheering you on. We've got a session looking at how modules are created with the Faculty of Business and Law. And on the 4th of July, we're looking at a session that focuses on studying with limited access. So this is, if for some reason you can't access the internet for an extended period of time, what options have you got? And we're going to use the example of how we work with our prison students to show how our modules are adapted so that even if you can't get full access, you can still carry on studying. And then we've got a range of study sessions in Adobe Connect for you to look at as well. And 29th of July is the moving up. Actually, 19th of July is moving up to the next level. So all looking fantastic there. Can I just encourage you all to fill out the feedback form? So the feedback form is there as a link on the website, and I'm sure somebody will pop it in the chat box now as well. The feedback is really important because we need to know what you want to hear about, what you enjoy, which elements you want more of, which elements you want less of. So tell us and we'll be able to adapt these sessions for you. And it really does help us when we go asking for studio time and time to get together. Your feedback is what makes all the difference. And I've just been told the feedback form is in the chat box. So thanks again to everyone. You've been fantastic. And thanks to everybody who's contributed in the chat box. It's been great spending the morning with you, and I look forward to seeing you all at the next session. Thank you, and goodbye.